Tonya prior to Kayla's death and then Tonya after. If you had to say what was the major difference in maybe how you lived your life and how you saw the world based on this major incident that happened, what would you say is what's different about Tonya after the loss of a child?
I believe that since this experience, I am less likely to be really concerned about what other people think about me because I've already been through the absolute worst. So if other people judge me or do what I say, or if I have to say goodbye to some other person, like, again, I've been through the worst, I'm going to be all right.
Right.
So being more confident in myself, standing up for myself, advocating for myself, so not really being as concerned with, impressing other people or, again, being concerned about how I'm going to be looked at.
Yeah. Okay.
And one thing I thought of, Tonya and Shauna, is lately, so I've been reflecting on, and then this entire day in preparation for today's interview as we prepare for break, was the whole subject of emptiness. And so on the other side of the break, I think I would like to talk about how you, Tonya, were able to begin to navigate this daily experience. You quoted Elizabeth Edwards' Parenting a Memory, which I think is a great way to talk about coping with grief and loss, especially on a scale as that, the loss of a child. So as we return on the other side of this broadcast, we're going to listen to Tonya share with us ways that she dealt with the fears associated with the reality of loss. Again, you're listening to Village Talk, where we highlight the voices and views of the community. And we have Tonya Logan here sharing with us how she dealt with the grief of the death of her child and coped with the loss since then. And we're going to hear more about Kayla and Tonya as we continue our broadcast. Stay with us. We look forward to sharing with you on the other side.
Feature your business with a full or half-page ad in an upcoming issue of Vision and Purpose Lifestyle Magazine. Advertise your business, book, or event and reach potential clients. Vision and Purpose Lifestyle Magazine covers and features stories in business and entrepreneurship, education, performing arts, sports, community outreach, fashion, travel and real estate, health and wellness, and more. Contact us at info@vnpmagazine.com, or you can reach out to our Director of Sales, Ms. Karen McConnell-Jones, at 202-904-1000. Vision and Purpose, inspiring our community.
Welcome back, everybody. Village Talk, where we highlight the voices and views of the community. And I don't know, Shauna, I feel like we've had a lot of great shows, but this one is near and dear to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
How I feel about talking about emotion and coping and all of those kind of things. And I think this is a very special show today.
It is. And I think, honestly, it's difficult even for our listeners can't see us, but even to talk about this, with this is difficult, but we know that this is helping someone, and there's someone out there who, the situation may not be the same, but there's something that you're going through. And so know that even as we record Village Talk, our thoughts are with you. And as we go into this next segment and listening to Tonya as she helps to share, some things that she's done, because this is tough. This is tough.
So one of the things that have come to my mind recently, as I post on social media, my thoughts and things that I'm learning in my own journey towards healing, was the subject of emptiness. And I've actually had conversations with others along the way, but a recent things that we lose that become a part of our past become like empty cups that can never be filled. And unless we're aware of that reality of our past and how we're trying to subconsciously fill these empty cups, the emotion associated with that empty cup can begin to drive and influence our decision making because we're not aware that we're trying to fill a cup that really can't be filled because it's in the past. And that's a revelation I've had recently on the subject of emptiness. And though I talked about emptiness in a different manner, after posting the video, I realized loss itself can create emptiness. And our guest here, Tonya Logan, is sharing about the loss of her daughter. And so one question I have for you, Tonya, if you could go back to that first year and the few years after Kayla's death, how did you deal with that emptiness?
I mean, I think some of the first year, I think certainly was one of the most difficult because you never know how all of the firsts are going to be. The first, like, I didn't get a lot of holidays with her. She was only 5 months old. I never got a Christmas with her. So anticipating how that would be. I never got her first birthday, things like that. So in talking to other people, not just who've lost children, but first after a loved one has died, most people say that the anticipation of those special days are often more heart-wrenching than sometimes the actual day. And I think because we've kind of worked through some of those emotions before we get to the actual day. So the first year was difficult, certainly. I made some decisions right after her death that not everyone may agree with, but again, I had already been through the worst, so I had to do what was working for me. But as I look back, just ways that was important for me to keep her alive and to be connected. I talked about her to people who were willing to listen and cry with me or let me just share and not judge. And, I have, as I reflect now, I don't think I knew about it then, but Kayla has helped me to learn and grow in so many ways then and now, and just to be more true to myself, to be transparent, to be who I believe I was intended to be from her life and death, even though she was only 5 months old. So 24 years later, she's still continuing to impact the lives of other people. I certainly would not have written my book, Mommy's Bright Sunshine, about the whole moving beyond tragedy to document my testimony. I would not have connected with newly bereaved parents where I would talk to them about moving through their journey, because it's very different when you've lived it than when you've sort of just studied it. So her life and death has helped to carve out a path for me that I would not have taken otherwise. I've done things to sort of spark people to ask questions. She had rocking horses stenciled in her room, and I eventually got that same rocking horse tattooed on my ankle. So things like that people can ask questions about, and then it opens up a dialogue.
And Tonya, one of the things that I think you've taught me, and I think you're teaching our listeners, is everybody does grieve differently.
Mm-hmm.
And while some people who've had some type of trauma that they've experienced, we go out of our way not to bring it up, right? We're like, okay, we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to put you in that bad place. But you are sitting here saying, part of my healing is to talk about it. I'm
Right.
actually putting, things in place for people will ask. Oh, so and I'm sure when people say, oh, okay, well, why'd you have a rocking horse on your ankle? They're not expecting that that's where you're going to go, but that if you put that there, means so your healing involves talking about it and
Mm-hmm.
making sure Kayla is part of your conversation on a daily basis. What other coping strategies have you used? Since we're really talking about coping, what have you found has been helpful to you over these years to help you deal with the day to day? Because I've heard you say just going day to day
Mm-hmm.
is your choice. What are your tools? What do you use?
I think it's hard to really just pinpoint certainly specific things. But I just really feel that I'm appreciative of people who are willing to themselves remember her and bring it up. So when people, it's not like they're going to remind me that I have a daughter that's deceased. People feel uncomfortable. But I believe that the majority of bereaved parents are comforted when other people bring it up, the reality. But I'm on the advisory committee for the Center for Infant and Child Law, so I'm trying to help other bereaved parents to sort of navigate this. The best way I can put it is hell. This is what it is, to go through this journey. I have again, had created a nonprofit, which just happens to be named for her, Kayla's Village. But the work we do had nothing to do around her death, but it was about just continuing to support other people, social workers, because I'm a social worker, to support those who are helping like marginalized populations. Just being able to connect with other people to understand that others have their own journeys that they're going through. So it's not just about grief and loss. It's not just about child death, things like that, but understanding that pain is pain and we're able to connect on that level. So those are the things that I try to do on a daily basis to keep Kayla's memory alive, to make her life have value even now, 24 years later. So the things that I do just to her death has also helped me to really parent differently, intentionally. Certainly I've thought about, could something happen to my children? Yes. But I've also thought about the reality of tomorrow not being promised for me either. So I've tried to help to have my children to be as independent as they can be as well. So Kayla's death has helped me to learn and grow and parent differently, and things that I hadn't really thought about, I guess, as globally as I have throughout the years.
What I love about what you're sharing, it supports what Shauna and I talked about in the previous show, Journey Towards Healing, on the subject of therapy, not just being counseling, but there are other forms of therapy that we can get involved with to facilitate our own healing. And it sounds like you've done that in so many ways, and our listeners could benefit. And one of the things I'm hearing is, out of your pain, a purpose was created. Out of this cauldron of pain, a purpose was created that included the support and healing of others. And we know the Bible speaks that if we invest ourselves in the lives of other people, that our healing will appear. And I think that itself is a form of therapy, that we don't just internalize and focus on self and wallow in self-pity, but we marshal up the strength to still get up every day and do what life requires of us. That also includes love of others and support of others when you talk about the Christian faith. And I think